Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first ever episode of Teen Talk. Today, I'm here with our special guest, the CEO of SparkTrack, Vritti Bhagnari. So, Vritti, you've started your startup at the age of just 15 years. I mean, that's some insane courage right there. Like, that's super brave. So, tell us about SparkTrack and just introduce it to us.
All right. First of all, thank you so much for having me as your first podcast guest. It's really just a pleasure to be having this conversation with you. And so the idea of Spark Track essentially began when in these summer vacations, I was looking for internship opportunities, which were very scarce. And all of them, for internships, you have to pay to get it. Whereas a typical internship will be one where you have to work and then you get paid for the work you do, right? So that
Right.
sparked something in me. And I decided to launch my own startup called SparkTrack for that very reason. And it includes a blog and a podcast, and it dives into the essentialities and the significance that youth entrepreneurship can bring about. Because if you don't have opportunities, or if you don't see opportunities, you can create that for yourself. And that's essentially what SparkTrack emphasizes on. And I would say throughout this hectic journey of launching a startup, recruiting people who are also passionate about the same cause, there was certainly a lot of learning along the entire journey so far.
Wow, that's amazing. It's really interesting to hear about that. So obviously Spark Track was something that you didn't just think of one day and then the next day you started it. It took you a lot of time. But I want to ask you
Absolutely.
one important question. What really motivated you to start Spark Track? Like, was it someone who influenced you or what?
I would definitely say there's this YouTuber. He's called Shaurya Sana, and he launched his youth startup, which was an NGO that dedicated to providing people of determination employment opportunities, and he would connect with huge, large-scale businesses, for example, Deloitte and PwC, and he would find people jobs. And he collected around 5,000 applicants, and he was able to give approximately 140 people of determination jobs within the span of just a year or two. And that was something so commendable. So I remember after this whole internship thing I talked to you about, I was on YouTube and I was like, I was searching up videos on youth entrepreneurship and I saw that video and he talked about how to launch a startup, how to think of an idea that you'd be genuinely passionate about and then just go forward with the entire process. And the most important thing that I would say I understood from this entire process is that you can go alone and you can go really fast, or you can go with a group of people who are just as passionate about the thing you're doing as you are, and you can go a long way. So that was definitely my entire motivation to launch a startup at 15.
Wow, that's amazing. Now,
Thank you.
obviously starting a startup or your own business is never easy. There's a lot of barriers that come with it. So, what were some of your barriers and, how did you overcome that? Could you tell us something about that?
For sure. So, genuinely for me, I was not a person that had established myself on social media. So, I was the type of person where I didn't use Instagram that much. I didn't have TikTok. So, I was very off of it. And I realized if I wanted to spread the message and recruit a team of people and find passionate people about the startup, I'd have to take the initiative and put myself out there on social media, which is something I've always been afraid to do. But when I did that, it was I got a lot of positive responses. And another thing was definitely taking interviews. I took around 30 interviews for my startup in one day for finding different people to head different departments, right? And that was so scary because interviewing people that are older than you and asking them questions, like I even interviewed alumni from my own school. It was, I felt like it was definitely a wholesome moment, I would say, because I got to connect with so many amazing people throughout that process. And while it had been very scary to, take interviews on your own and put yourself out there and put your startup out there, the entire process was quite rewarding at the end.
That's amazing. I mean, like, you did everything on yourself. That's really cool. I'm pretty sure you have learned a lot with this. And a lot of people have big ambitions in life and big dreams, but very less are able to achieve them. So, what
Right.
do you have to say to those who have big ambitions, but their self esteem or their overthinking stops them? Like, how do you deal with that judgment that, oh, you're just this, how can you start all this? A lot of people judge. So, what would you like to say about that?
For sure. So there's always going to be people that are going to judge you regardless of what you do. It could be something amazing. It could be something that has the potential to make a huge positive change. And people will always have something to say. I think when it comes to being able to do something you're passionate about, I would definitely say be very selective with who you surround yourself with. So for me, I cut off a lot of people out of my life because I just knew I wanted to add value to the people, add value to the lives of the people who matter to me, and I wanted them to reciprocate the same thing. So I definitely would say choosing who you associate yourself with and choosing who you want to be friends with can definitely influence your entire self-esteem. Like at the start of this year, I've had a huge friend circle, but it was um, I would say no one had the other person's best interest, right? But the moment I took a step back and left that group of people and found people, whether it was much fewer, that genuinely cared and appreciated the friendship that we created, I would definitely say it was so much more positive, and my self-esteem literally just shot back up.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so true. Like, I want to share my story as well. And I really appreciate you for taking that step. Like, it's really brave to, be like, okay, I don't think that these people are good for my growth. And that's
exactly.
super amazing that you did that. So, in 2019, like, I was at the lowest point of my life. Like, I would hang out with the most, I would say, the most toxic people. Like, I'll be very frank with you, I had no goals in life. Like, literally all I did was just go to school and just laugh around, do nothing, absolutely nothing. And when I look at myself today, I'm just like, wow, if I did not distance myself from these people, I don't know where I would have been today. Like, I'm being very honest. Like, when you take that step away from such people, you really you really grow and you really start finding yourself. And it's just, yeah, like, I think it was really hard for me to accept the reality that, okay, I'm not with these people anymore. I am not in this group anymore. And it was tough for me because every day I'm going to school and I'm seeing these people every day. At times it was hard for me, where literally I just wanted to go home, but I faced the reality and it made me super strong. It made me so mentally strong. Like, if I would not have distanced myself, I don't know, like, where I would have been today. But I'm super grateful and happy that I took that step. And really, like, appreciate you for doing the same. Like, it's not easy to distance yourself from those friends. It's comfortable to do so, but it's not the best for your growth. So you're very right for that.
Thank you so much. And I think I'm just really proud of us for just taking that step and deciding that, hey, these people are not meant for me and I can do better and and I deserve people who add that value to my life because I want to do that like in their life as well. And people that just it's not like you just score one way. Like it goes both ways, as everyone says. And just at that young age, right? Like, when you're just like a teenager and you're able to really differentiate between what's meant for you and what's not, I think that's like a huge sign of just being able to make positive decisions for yourself. And your younger self's going to be proud that you did that, right? For yourself. Because when you see yourself now, as you said, you're so much different and in a better way.
Right, of course. Last but not the least, I have one last question for you. And that
Sure.
is, how do you really balance, your startup and all your passion with your studies? And yeah, we just want to know how you balance it, and how do you manage your time basically.
Wow, okay. Should be told, I don't know how, but I will just kind of put it out there. So I recently switched curriculums entirely, and being able to balance like this entirely much more harder curriculum with just a startup and other opportunities that I'm looking at, it's definitely not a piece of cake. And I would say every single day, I can't give my time to each one of these things. But what I do like to do is just prioritize everything. So for example, my academics will come first, then my startup second, and then my applications or whatever else comes third. So based on that, what I do is I divide my time each day. And within that time period, I just focus on that one task. So I do not multitask, though it's very appealing. Like, for example, if I have to study, I will study 2 hours a day and that's it. But those 2 hours that I do are going to be so full of focus that it's like you do like 5 hours worth of work in just two. So I think it's just about giving, like, just not multitasking and just prioritizing your tasks and goals just one by one. So I would make a to-do list every single day. I started this like since COVID, and I've been doing it ever since. And so every single day, I would set like small goals, like study business for 1 hour, or like complete your application for this program in X amount of time. So I think allotting time to your tasks and just prioritizing, here, what comes first? Is it this or that? That would help you become successful over time. But juggling so many things at once is definitely not easy, and you do make mistakes. Like, there are days, like for example, yesterday, I did not even bother touching my books or finishing my application for a a school, right? So I just wasted my whole day. But there are days like that which happen, and you also need to learn to forgive yourself and also give yourself breaks. Otherwise, you're just gonna burn out. That was a huge answer, but I kind of just condensed all of my thoughts into a few lines.
That was a very beautiful answer. I think, like, I really respect your dedication. Like, it's very nice to hear that you do that. I would like to share something as well. Was that when I was in 10th grade, obviously we were supposed to have boards, but we didn't. But either ways, we were anyways preparing for it. And I remember I was really, struggling to balance my subjects. Like, I had physics, chemistry, bio, maths, a lot of things. And I came across this thing called Pomodoro technique, which is a very flexible study technique. So basically, what it does is that it gives you that specific time that, okay, you have, say, 20 to 25 minutes to study, and only study, like you're super focused. And then you have like a 5 to 10 minute break. And that really helped me because, in 10th grade, I mean, you've just finished 10th grade, and you know how tiring it is. You have boards, you have so much pressure. So you do get tired at some point. So Pomodoro is one technique that really, really helped me. Like, I would study like math for like 25 to 30 minutes, and then I would take like a 5 to 10 minute break, and then I would switch to the next subject, like maybe physics or chemistry, and then I would study that for 25 to 30 minutes, and then take like a 10-minute break. Like that, in 2 hours I have finished almost four subjects, which I think is more productive for me than just doing one subject for 2 hours. Like, yeah, you're finishing too much in one subject, but finishing four subjects in 2 hours with breaks and with focus, like, that's a super cool technique. And I suggest it to everyone who's listening right now, because of how short our attention span has become, that we fail to just, sit and study and focus. So I think Pomodoro is a great technique. And you said that,
Absolutely.
there are days where you can't, like, do anything and you're just tired. And that's okay. I think some days you just need a break. Like, you're just super tired. So it's always like, give yourself that break, and I really appreciate you for saying that.
Thank you so much. And the way you shed light on the Pomodoro technique, I used it in 10th grade math, and it was amazing. like my marks skyrocketed drastically after using that for particular subjects. So I definitely think that using like the Pomodoro technique, or whether it's studying 2 hours at an end or whatever it is, it depends on individually. It just fluctuates depending on what type of person you are and the amount of focus that you can give to a certain task at one time. And it really just depends on whether you're a visual or kinesthetic, or there are many different types of learners, right? So definitely based on that, but the Pomodoro technique is life changing for a lot of people for sure.
Yeah, I'm so happy that even you used it. But yeah, it's super productive. Like it was like I'm so like grateful I got to know about that technique.
Yeah, definitely. It's something, like there's just a whole list of study techniques that everyone should know. It just makes life so much easier.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
So, thank you so much, Vritti, for coming here and speaking to us about your journey to becoming the CEO of SparkTrack at just 15 years. It was so nice to have you, and all the best to you for your future plans and for SparkTrack, of course. And I will see you all in the next episode. Thank you.